Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to present to you Mr. David Lechosa. David, thank you for joining the Respect and Pray show. How are you, sir?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, man. I know we've been trying to make this happen for quite some time, but hey, this was at the right time, man. Here we are. So thank you once again. First of all, how's your family doing?
Good, man. It's been a busy month of summer, but super good. Super good. How are you doing?
Everything is great on my end. Can't complain. Staying productive, staying hydrated. It's a hot week this week, but I can't complain. Me personally, I prefer summer or winter any day, so I can't complain on that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So David, for those of you who don't know David, he's a senior marketing director for life insurance. But before we go into that, I want to go start from the top. So you were born and raised in Spain, if I'm correct?
Yep. Yeah. I'm born and raised in Madrid, Spain, and it's been a whirlwind, man. I used to so I studied there and came to the US, and it's been for the last, I guess, 12 years now. It's been an amazing journey. Absolutely.
Was it a culture shock when you came to the US? Like, relive that moment, how it was for you.
Yeah, there's a couple of things like, the Spanish culture in general, not just Spain, but I think the Latin American, Spanish culture, it's a little bit more warm in some instances or more physical in some instances. So I think there's a funny thing, like when I first came here, in Spain, at least they don't do the side hugs, whenever you meet somebody, you do the side hug. So in Spain, it's always like you give a hug from the front. And so I remember like one of the first times just like hugging somebody from the US, and it was like I was going for the front hug and then they were going for the side hug, and it was like a funny like interaction, you know. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, and then food is always different, right? Spain has amazing food and US has great food as well, but it's a little bit of a melting pot of foods from different places of the world, you know. So that's also kind of a little bit different, but
Awesome, awesome. So you before you got into life insurance, you were doing IT. What was about doing IT that motivated you to do it? And did you went to school for that?
So I did go to I got some certifications from Salesforce. So um, the way that came about, I was working at a company doing sales, and I was doing that for a few years. And through that journey, the CRM that they were using at both companies, it was Salesforce. And so I got interested in it, and I saw the opportunity from some of my friends. They were in they were developers and that kind of thing, and I didn't want to do that, but there was a lot of other opportunities on the Salesforce ecosystem. And so they were like, hey, you should check this out, get some certifications. There's a lot of opportunities. And so got certified. I studied for like maybe like a 2 month intensive course, and got it done. And yeah, so got that, and then got my first opportunity to get into the IT space, and I was a Salesforce admin, managing the CRM for a company. And then from there I took what I learned from there and then took it into a consulting role. And so I've done a million projects as a consultant, but I was doing a lot in the sales and service space, and then it was a lot of BA, project management work, admin work, a little bit of a mix of different things, but yeah, super interesting world.
Did you always have this entrepreneur leadership ability that you always want to do? Was that something in you, or is that something that it took you at some point in your life that you said, I feel like I can do this?
Yeah, I think that I've always had like a little bit of an entrepreneurial fire in me. Like even back when I was in Spain, I always felt like I wanted to do something. And I've seen it around my family too. Some of my family members have different businesses out there as well. And so I saw a little bit of that entrepreneurial culture early on. And then the States is very big in entrepreneurship, right? It's like the American dream, do your own thing, be your own boss, that sort of thing. And so I feel like it amplified my entrepreneurial spirit when I came here. And I've had a little bit of side hustles here and there, over the years. And then one of them was really fun. I don't know if you knew this, but I had a hot sauce company for like 4 years while I was in IT, as like a side thing that turned out to be a really fun endeavor. But we were selling hot sauces for almost 4 years, and we ended up connecting with a company from Canada. They bought us out, and yeah, it was a super fun adventure on that side. And that was all before, but the life insurance and financial services and stuff. And so I felt like I took everything that I learned from the tech world and everything I learned from the business ownership with the hot sauce thing, and then applied it to the financial services space.
Interesting. That's something new that I learned from you because we had a lot of conversations in the past, but
Yeah.
obviously there's always going to be something that will be left out. But I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now that leads me to following life insurance. How did that come about? How did a guy go from IT to life insurance? Tell us.
Yeah, so one of my really close friends, Nick, he kept pestering me about it for like 2 years, 3 years at least. And I saw his trajectory and his growth, and he's leading a 1,000 plus man operation. And so when we've been close for the last 10 years, and so I've seen him from like starting at zero bottom and growing a massive organization and financially growing as well and traveling the world with his family and enjoying time freedom and everything. So I saw that as an opportunity, and he kept pestering me about it while I was doing IT. He's like, hey, you'd be really good at this. You have the sales skills, you have the leadership skills. You should try to apply that into a different field. And and so I saw what they did. I saw the product and the mission of the company is no family left behind. So I really value that, and I really resonated with just providing financial education for all and providing financial education and financial services to the people that typically don't have access to it, or they're not educated, and we're being able to be that educator for them. So I really fell in love with the crusade, and I finally said yes. I was like, Nick, all right, you win. I'll give it a shot. And so I actually started part-time too. So like I dipped my toe in the water first because I didn't want to just like completely switch careers and, cold turkey everything I've built. And so I basically started part-time for a little bit, and I started generating pretty decent revenue from the part-time efforts. And so I was like, if I can do this money part-time, then I can double it full-time, right? It's just easy math. And so I made the decision to transition to that and just jump full 10 toes in the pool. And that's for the last 3 years. That's what we've been doing. So
Nick provides great energy every Tuesday, and we log in for these training sessions. And so I can't even imagine how I was for him when he started. And right now he's basically nowadays like a pro. And since you started part time and now you're a senior marketing director, how long did it took you to go for people who are watching this? How
yeah.
long did it took you to go from part time agent to now senior marketing director?
Yeah, I think it was like 18 months total. Because the first year I was part-time, but it was very part-time. So it wasn't like not even 20 hours a week. So it was a little bit slower at the beginning. I was more of like a professional meeting attender, if you will. I was trying to learn everything, absorb, just learn the products, learn the systems, and take it a little bit slower because I had the income, so I didn't have like the pressure of like having to produce. And I did close a bunch, but I was like a little bit more of learning and taking it slow. And so after the first year, then I was like, okay, there's 6 months. I got connected, and this is a big blessing because a lot of the connections we make typically happen from a professional setting, whether it's in person or, sometimes LinkedIn. This in this case was LinkedIn, and so I got connected with a great individual in LinkedIn, and basically he helped us grow our team from 3 licensed agents to 57 licensed agents in a 3 month period. And so we went like crazy growth really fast thanks to this one connection, one person that I found. And the 3 months after that, we trained and helped everybody produce the income requirements to promote to the senior broker, senior marketing director position. So first year was learning, and then one connection could cause an explosion in your business, right? One partnership, one connection could make a huge difference. And yeah, that's how it happened.
Awesome, awesome. So, Legado Leadership Development. How did that name come about, and what's your mission? Um, because you're the commander in chief, I should say. So, what's your mission with Legado?
Yeah, no, good question. So legado in Spanish means legacy. And so I'm really big on leaving a legacy for your family, whatever that means, right? It doesn't always necessarily have to be living $1 billion to your kids, right? But um, and it doesn't even have to be to your kids. It could be to your loved ones, right? You can make it however you like. But I'm really big in leaving a legacy and making your life here matter and count. And so that, maybe a few generations down the road, people will know who David was and how he was a good family man. He was a good father and a good husband, and he left a big legacy, right? That's the purpose mission.
So now, David, we're gonna play a game now, something that I
Yeah,
do with all my guests. So, you ready?
yeah, let's do it.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, man, that's tough. It depends on the mood. I will say it depends on the mood, but I think probably like a steak, like a really nice steak and sweet potato fries. I think that's probably my favorite.
All right, right. Favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby, kickboxing. Anything that has to do with MMA, contact sports, really love it.
Respect or loyalty?
Respect and loyalty. Man, they're good in their own way. I'd say loyalty probably.
The best sports arena or stadium that you've experienced.
Towards Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, 100%. That place is electric.
Nice, nice. Name me your top three favorite travel destinations that's on your bucket list that you haven't been to yet.
Ooh, nice. I'll tell you some interesting ones. Japan, Tokyo has always been one of my top of the list. Um, there's a small little town in Austria called Hallstatt. It's absolutely beautiful. You should look it up, Hallstatt. That's number two. And then I'd say number three, probably New Zealand. Those are top three.
Yeah, New Zealand is definitely up there. I mean, there's so many places that I want to travel in my lifetime, and New Zealand is definitely up there. So that's a good one. I like that. Those are good options.
Yep.
Name me at least three skill sets that you wish you had.
That I don't have that I wish I had?
Yeah. Mhm.
Hmm, that's a good question. Let me think for a second. Professional or personal? Or could be both.
Either or.
Okay. Hmm. I think sometimes wanting to solution too quick, that could be, or like being able to pause a little bit more. I think like that might be a skill set, that I should work on. Sometimes like we want to get to the solution too quickly, and I think pausing before is something that I definitely want to work on. Um, Another skill set, I mean, I'd say I'm critical of myself, so I always want to be like a better leader and a better closer, right? So those are two skill sets that I'm always working on. So um, just being able to know when to pull, when to push, right? Being able to kind of nail down that balance of leadership and sales. I think those are the other two that I'm always working on.
Last but not least, name me at least five people. It could be celebrities, it could be anyone, dead
Yeah,
or alive, that you wish you could have a sit down and just chop it up, pick their brains.
I mean, dead or alive, huh? I think, well, obviously, I'm a big faith person, so I'd say Jesus probably would be the number one that I want to sit down with. Uh, sit down with like pretty much like him and the disciples, just like all in one go. Just let's have a chat. Um, and then as far as more kind of recent, I guess, people, I would say Alexander the Great would be one to understand and talk to him about leadership and expansion and growth and vision. Um, I'd say Alex Hormozy is probably between Alex Hormozy and Gary Vee are probably like up there. Um, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson would be an incredible, just like having a beer and just talking like physics and like all that cool stuff that I don't know anything about, and it's like super fascinating. Um, and I'd say the last one, let me see, who could be the last one? I'd say maybe like a probably Bezos, maybe either Bezos or Musk, like a super billionaire, just pick at their brain, you know?
Great options. So
Yeah.
that concludes this game time with Triple M. We go Mike Medina. So David, so you're a person that's very heavy on fitness. I've seen your stuff on social media, especially Facebook, and you're someone that is a great example of making a tremendous transformation
Mhm.
with your lifestyle in terms of what you're eating, you're putting in work and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Was there a moment that you felt that you just had to look at yourself and say, I had to make some kind of change with my life? Like, was it a health situation? Was it a specific comment? Was that a pivotal moment that you said, I'm gonna get up and make a change in my life because I'm just not, there's something about me that I'm just not feeling right.
Yeah, I think there's very rarely a one specific moment, when it comes to transformation. And in the same way, transformation doesn't happen overnight. So it's a continuous decision that you have to continually decide to do consistently, right, for a long period of time. And sometimes, or in all cases, it's not a linear path, right? So you have 5 great days, and then you have one day that's not so good, and then you have three more good days, and then one is so-so, and you keep moving. And as long as you can stack more good days than bad days, long term, you're gonna do just fine, right? But you have to keep making that conscious decision uh, consistently. And so I think the there wasn't a specific moment, but it was a combination of things and health and family and just turning 30 and also turning a new year, turning a new page of like, hey, this is the beginning of a new chapter in life, a new decade. Um, there was all that combination of things of like, hey, building the business and taking care of my kids and of like, hey, if I want to be here for more than, a year, like I need to make some changes and make sure that my health is my number one priority. And Yeah, lost like almost 90 pounds in the last year and a half or so, and we're still on the road to continue getting down and seeing where that leads. So
Nice, congratulations, man. Like I said, I've seen your stuff, especially on Facebook, and it's good that for some, there are some people that they shy away from it. They don't want to show that side. They don't want to show too much. But I feel that in your situation, I feel that it's a good thing that you're sharing that because you don't know who you're inspiring. You don't know who you're motivating. And
a
this is
hundred.
one thing I tell people. I don't care how many followers. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. The lack of likes. Always put out something because you don't know who's watching at the end of the day. You just don't know. It could be
Yeah.
fitness. It could be film, it could be sports, it could be anything. You don't know who's gonna be watching it and who's gonna reach out. So it's good that you're doing that because in the world that we live in where we have a short attention span, we could easily get discouraged over any little thing where people want instant gratification. When you see stuff like that, when you share stories like that, it could put someone at ease and relax and say, you know what? Look at, what this person had to go through. So why I'm here complaining, that's a great example. So you're doing a good thing that you're sharing your story, your world, and look what I've gone through. Look at the before and after. And I'm not
Right.
even done yet. So keep it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, and it's tough whenever you're at the before, right? At the day one, it's tough to post whenever you're there, with kind of the conviction that you're gonna get to an after, right? So if you go scroll back down, I was posting videos at the very beginning of the journey and, keeping, I think I used it as a way of accountability too, right? It's a good way, like you said, and keep posting. And even if you have two people that like it, that's two people that you can make an impact on. And it's good for accountability too, especially going through a journey like this. It's like putting it out in public display. Then even if you don't think people are watching, and so it's good to like keep some sort of a public display of accountability of what you're doing too.
And that's something why I like guys like Gary Vee. Even though for me, the thing about Gary Vee is that he could swear a little too much for me. Like I can't hear
Yeah.
too much swearing words. But the thing that I love and admire about him is the fact that he doesn't sugarcoat it. He keeps it real with you. He says it's gonna be a grind. He's not gonna be one of these, fake girls online that said that they trying to make it seem like it's all glamorous. He keeps it straight with you. It's gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of work, but you gotta be consistent. You gotta work ethic, and just post anything. Show your personality and things of that nature. So that's the thing that I like about him is that he's a straight shooter. He tells you the realness of what's gonna happen. When you get started in anything. So good stuff, man. Before I wrap it up, I got two more questions. The next one is, what do you recommend for anyone that wants to get better in sales and prospecting? And I know you're author of a book, but we're gonna leave that for another time because
Yeah.
that's a separate content that we're just gonna focus on that. For those of you who don't know, David, he has his own book that talks about prospecting. But again, if you follow me on other platforms, we're gonna do a separate content about that for another day. But the question is, what do you recommend for people in terms of how do they get better in terms of selling?
Yeah, I mean, there's really two big things. One is read as many books on selling as you can. They talk about people that are CEOs and millionaires. They said that they read a book a week. I don't know how much truth there is in that. Not everybody reads or has the time to read a book a week. I did it for a year. I read a book a week for a year, and that was a challenge. But if you have the time, try to read or research and watch videos, whatever your form of consuming content is, uh, as much as you can in learning the skill set of selling. And then two, you got to put the reps in. I mean, there's really no other way of getting better at something that to put the 10,000 hours, right? They talk about for you to become an expert, you gotta, I think it's 10,000 hours, right? If you want to play piano, you gotta play piano for 10,000 hours. You're gonna be pretty decent at piano, right? If you want to get better at sales, you gotta be putting 10,000 hours, and I promise you, you're gonna be good at sales, right? But a lot of times where people fall short is that they repeat the first year for 20 years, if that makes sense. So you have to keep evolving. You can't just like do the same things, the same wrong things for a long period of time. That's not the 10,000 hours, right? You have to keep evolving, learning new skills, getting better, tweaking things, making new processes. Like you have to keep evolving, and that's how you get better.
And last but not least, where can we follow you? As a matter of fact, oh, there's another one. I gotta ask. What's the best advice you receive from a business entrepreneur standpoint?
Uh, I receive a lot of really good advices when it comes to that, but I think the number one is patience. Um, Patience will take you so far. A lot of times people jump ship too quickly or they give up too quickly, right? Their circumstances and things change and it's fine, right? But if you look at Alex Hormozy and the Valley of Despair and like all the entrepreneur curve that he talks about, where you start something and it's like really exciting because it's a new thing, and then it's like, oh shoot, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought it was, and then you get to like, oh my God, this is like really, really challenging, and a lot of people quit whenever it's that valley of despair, that really challenging moment, which every business will have, and then they jump to another opportunity where they're also excited again, and things feel fresh and new in the new honeymoon state, and then so they kind of jump ship too quickly into those chasing that feeling of newness or the initial, I'm excited for this new opportunity. But the people that really truly make it in the end is the people that go through that valley of despair, push through adversity, and go to the other side, right? So,
All right. Last but not least, where can we follow you in your work?
I mean, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, if you type in David Lechosa, I'm probably one of one. So I don't think there's a lot of people with that same name. So,
I agree with that. Yep, I agree with that. It's very rare to see so many names with that. So you're lucky in that regard that you have a unique first and last name. So people, it won't be hard for people to find. But regardless, I'm gonna put all the information on the description in this video. The V, it has been a great honor to have met you, and I know that you're going through a transition right now, but definitely, we're gonna stay in contact. I've always, always asking you questions, asking for advice, and I'm definitely gonna be asking more after this. We're done, but may God bless you and your family. Much respect and praise to everything that you're doing. Continue to be a fearless leader, and I can't thank you enough for taking a chance on me, especially now that I'm starting in the Department of Finance. So it's very rare to find someone that will take a chance, someone with no experience, no background whatsoever. But then again, you understood that because you went through the same situation. So continue to do that, continue to be a fearless leader, and just keep on pushing forward, whether it's fitness, finance, etc. But definitely, man, thank you so much for everything.
yeah, no, I appreciate you, and I know you're going to do great things, and super excited to see your journey as well. So I appreciate your time.